Chris Schofeld with WarChant.com. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Good, man. Obviously, you've been close to, probably Florida State and a lot of Florida State alumni and things like that. What's it like to be here, and what attracted you to the job?
It's very exciting to be here. Number one, I think, it's Florida State, one of the top programs in the country, year after year. And just growing up in this state, what I've seen this program do, over the years, it's definitely a program that's always on your radar. If you get an opportunity to work there one day, you'd be really excited about it. So that's what attracted me to it. And then obviously Coach Norvell, the job he's done, Coach Miles on, my relationship with him. So there's a lot of familiar faces for me here too that really makes this an exciting opportunity.
Come up front here to Chris when the microphone gets you.
Hey, Coach Harris. Chris Nate with Knowles
What's going on, Chris?
Not much. What do you look for in a wide receiver? Like, what's your type of receiver and the different roles that they can play in the offense?
Well, I think number one, I don't think there's a particular type that we look for. They come in all different sizes, and guys that can run, guys that can't run but can get themselves open. But you got to be able to, catch the football at an elite level. I think that's what it starts with. But you want guys that have the right mentality and how to play the position in all phases. Guys that are going to play without the ball just as hard as they're going to play when they're getting the ball. I think that's super important when you look at any position, but receiver position is one of those that, it kind of gets lost when you talk about that sometimes, because the perimeter blocking, it makes the offense go. We're going to be able to run the football here, and we want our receivers to be just as dominant on the perimeter as blockers as they are in getting open and catching passes. So, we look for guys that, you want size a lot of time, but if guys don't have size, they may have elite speed. So we'll have a good mixture of those guys in our receiver group, and but the mentality is going to be we're going to play without the ball just as hard as we do with the ball, and that's what you'll see from our receivers week to week.
Brendan?
Hi, Dave. Brendan Snow with Knowles 24/7. Nice to meet you.
Nice.
With the wide receiver group that you currently have, I'm not sure how much time you've had to do like evaluations. It's been a pretty quick process. If you kind of walk through like what you've been able to do in your time here, been able to evaluate, is it been more transfer portal stuff?
Well, yeah, starting off my first day here, you want to make sure that you reach out and make contact with all the guys that you have on your current roster. So that was the most important thing to me, just to introduce myself to them, let them know, what I'm about as a coach, let them know, places I've been, what I've done, because they need to hear that. They want to, they didn't, when they signed on here, I wasn't the receiver coach. So I wanted to make sure that they get to know me, know the things that I'm looking for, the standard that we're going to have for our receiver room, and make them comfortable with what the future looks like in our position room. So that was goal number one when I got here. And then, getting to, who we've been recruiting, obviously the guys that we just signed, doing the same thing with them. And some of them I had previous relationships with, which is always good. And then the transfer portal right now is pretty heavy, so making sure that I get caught up with that too. But all in all, it's still all about the players on our team. The guys on our team, making sure that I'm staying in constant contact with them, communicating with them, knowing what they're doing while they're home right now, and excited to get them back to get in front of them as well.
Liam?
Hey, Coach Harris, nice to meet you. Liam Rooney from the Tallahassee Democrat. Can you just talk about your relationship with Coach Malzahn and kind of the journey you've been on and the work you've done with him and, leading up to this moment here at Florida State?
Yeah, no, our relationship goes way back, man. We started a friendship when I was a high school coach back at Miami Booker T. Washington, and then, Gus coming in when he was at Auburn recruiting my players. He actually interviewed me for a job back then too, and I didn't get it, by the way. I didn't get that job, but he came back a couple years later and was able to bring me to UCF with him, and we've had a lot of great times together. We won a lot together. I've learned a lot from him. He's probably learned some things from me too. But as you can see, having the opportunity to come here just shows the level of respect and what he knows he's going to get out of me, as an assistant as well. So. I'm excited to be here to work with him again, to continue, even also Coach Hand too. So when you have guys that you've worked with before, you've been in the fire with, man, it's always exciting to kind of keep those things going while learning from guys that I haven't had the opportunity to work with yet as well.
Peter?
Hey, Coach, how's it
Peter,
going?
what's up, man?
Long time no see, Coach.
I know.
Coach, obviously from the other side, having Patrick Surtain coaching the DBs, and you on the wide receiver. Was there any encounters prior to that? And if so, what is something you're looking forward to going against DBs and during practices?
Well, no, as far as encounters, other than me knowing Pat from back home and recruiting his school too, you know, we've always had a really good relationship. You know, I'm excited about our matchups in practice. I know, you know, how he's going to coach those guys over there. I know what I'm getting from that standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, and we're going to match that. So it's going to be a lot of fun with our receivers and DBs being able to go at it this year.
Corey?
With Javian Boggs, I don't know, I'm sure his measurables are very, very good, but it also seems like he's one of these guys, obviously, that just has a natural knack for getting open and catching the football. How much of that stuff is taught? How much of that stuff is God-given or just innate? And will he be an early enrollee? And do you see him particularly having a chance to play and play a lot this year?
Yeah, well, when you go to start with your first question, a lot of it is God-given. But Jaden's been blessed to be in a really good high school program. His high school coach, Ryan Snyder, does a really good job with his program, and his game has developed every year. So, you know, when you match that God-given ability with him showing the level that he's taking his game to year after year, you know he's getting the right development. And that's what makes him, you know, an attractive prospect. Obviously, our relationship goes back, and I've been able to watch his development over the years pretty closely. But he's definitely a guy that's put himself, he will be an early enrollee, and he's put himself in a position physically where his body's ready to come in here and compete to play. So I'm excited about watching him when he gets here.
All right.
You wanna introduce yourself?
Sorry, I'm Corey Clark with Worthington.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Nice to meet you.
The position group you're inheriting, I'm sure you're not focused too much on the past. But you know, Florida State's offense in general struggled a little bit. Obviously struggled in a lot of areas, but struggled with drop passes. And it seemed like the offense, Coach Norvell said a couple times that he felt like the offense lost confidence. And what are the keys to kind of building that back up? Not, you know, just players in general, but particularly that group.
I think, you know, starting off is, you know, it's a fresh start for everyone. You know, I think for me coming in here, you know, I don't want to, you know, you look back and you get an evaluation, but I don't want to hold anything against any player of what they've done in the past, because, you know, I get an opportunity to work with them now. And, you know, I'm excited just about making sure that we focus on the things that are going to be important to our standard at this point. And, you know, us being able to catch the football, and I talked about it already, us being able to be good without the ball in our hand, those will be all the standards that are set for our room. And our guys, I think when we get in front of them and we make sure that we're consistent with that message every day, we're pointing it out when we don't play to those standards or practice to those standards, we'll get guys to fall in. So I feel just after talking to the guys that I have, you know, I've gotten the opportunity to talk to all of them, but after talking to them, they all are excited about, you know, what the future looks like. So I'm really excited with them to just get my hands on them and, you know, be able to push them to make them as good as they can be.
Kirk?
Hey, Coach, Kurt Weiler with the Osceola.
How you doing, Kurt?
Doing good. As a guy with the longtime high school coach in South Florida, Coach Sertan, former high school coach in South Florida, Coach Cooper's got this. How important is, I mean, you lived it yourself, being the high school coach down there, having the ties down there when you're recruiting to a place like Florida State with so much talent in that area?
Yeah, well, Florida State's an attractive destination. I don't care where you're from. You know, I think South Florida, wherever, you know, Florida, out of the state, Florida State speaks for itself. But just from when you're talking from a South Florida standpoint, it's always good when you have guys on the staff with those relationships down there, because you know you want to know the people that you need to talk to. You want to have the relationships with the right people that they're going to trust, being able to leave South Florida to come, you know, all the way to North Florida. They're passing some other, you know, schools in our state that are probably trying to get them too. So when we got relationships here, like myself, Pat, you know, and even some of our off the field coach, Evan, obviously, and then some of our off the field coaches, it's a really big advantage for us. So we're gonna make sure that we do all we can to be aggressive and use and play to those advantages.
Aslan?
Aslan and Giovanni, warchant.com as well.
All right.
Coach, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What do you tell a player when he says, hey coach, like, seems like Coach Gus likes to run the football a lot as a wide receiver. What do you tell those guys about their opportunities in this offense?
Well, what I say, first of all, we're gonna look at history. We got a lot of receivers that have been in this offense that have put up a lot of big numbers. 2 years ago at our last place, you know, moving to a new conference, we had the #1 receiver in that conference and the #5 receiver in that conference with a successful running back too. So this offense has shown that, you know, you can do it all. And when it's at its best, we are able to pass the football. So we'll put things in front of them and show them tape, because, you know, you're right, people may say those kind of things, but And all the time as a receiver, being honest, what I tell them is it's not a bad thing that you can run the football at a very high level. When you run the football at a very high level, you get a lot of one-on-one matchups. And as a receiver, that's what we want most of the time. When people got to play us one-on-one because they got to put extra hats in the box, hey, I love that. So, we sell that too. We can run it with the best of them. It's going to open up, you're going to have you a one-on-one opportunity that you should win most of the time. So,
Chris, here in front.
I know it was a decade ago, but being a high school head coach, how beneficial was it in this process for you becoming a higher level coach and understanding it from both sides, both angles?
yeah, it was very beneficial. First of all, I still consider myself that, to be honest. Just obviously those were my roots. I was born into high school coaching, so that was what I spent most of my life around that. And just understanding why I got into the profession, that's why I think it keeps me grounded. Getting into coaching, it was all about helping develop young people, in a lot of ways on the field and off the field. And when you get to this level, a lot of times, especially how the game is changing, your mind can start getting all over the place and you're thinking of it differently. But having that background, being grounded, starting at that level and understanding the work that goes into why you're doing what you're doing, that's helped me, every single day now. So, I'm never gonna let where the game is going to change why I got into the profession, and starting where I started helps me do that every single day.
Go to Ira.
I kind of want to follow up on that. What are some of the foundational things you learned from your dad, and how do they help guide you in your career?
Being consistent with what you want out of your players, not changing from day to day. Making sure that my players see the same person every day. There's a lot of ups and downs in our profession. There's a lot of ups and downs in our game, but making sure that I put my best foot forward every day when I walk in the building, being positive and showing my players that at the end of the day, whether I'm coaching, I'm giving them tough love, or some guys may not need that, but they know that where I'm coming from a place of caring about them reaching their goals. So that's really where it all starts for me, and that's what drives me every single day. I want to make sure I make an impact on every player that I touch.
We'll go to Matt for the last one.
Matt Lacerda, WarChant.com, and all
What's up,
three.
Matt?
Being passing game coordinator, how big was it to get Thomas Castellanos in here early, and now you can just start running with him?
Super important, man. Quarterback position, obviously most important position on the field. You got a lot of other things that goes with that. Obviously, you want to have an offensive line to protect and block for your run game, and you want to have backs that keep. But it starts with the quarterback. There's a lot that's put on that guy's plate, and when you can get a guy that has the experience and has played at a high level like Thomas has, and then has been in our system, and he know us. I was with at UCF when we recruited Thomas, was there his freshman year, so he's familiar with people that he's going to be around right now, and that helps guys. So he's been able to go off and learn and get an opportunity to play in some big games and win some big games. And now he's coming back to a place where it's really started his college foundation as far as the system, where he's coming back to that system that he's not going to be in a foreign environment, what I say. So I'm very excited to have Thomas. I think our receivers and all of our other skilled players is going to be excited as well.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.